The new swimming pool sparkled beneath the summer sun. But what left Rebecca frozen in place was not the crystal blue water. It was the art studio behind the house. The door was still there. The easels were still there. But hundreds of paintings had vanished. For more than half a century, Eleanor Hayes had lived a quiet life beside a small lake in Vermont. She was never famous, she never appeared in newspapers, she never owned a vast fortune, but she had a treasure of her own. Paintings created through thousands of hours of work, from freezing dawns to long evenings spent watching the sunset through her studio window. The person Eleanor loved most was Lily, her great-granddaughter, the little girl who would sit beside her for hours, learning how to mix colors while sharing her childhood dreams. Every birthday, Eleanor gave Lily a small painting along with a handwritten note tucked behind the frame. When Eleanor passed away, her will was read. The entire art collection was left to Lily. Because she was still too young, the paintings remained temporarily stored in Eleanor's old studio. 4 months after the funeral, Thomas and Susan suddenly unveiled their dream retirement project. A luxurious swimming pool had just been completed behind their home. The neighbors admired it. Rebecca forced herself to smile, until she asked her father a simple question. Where did the money come from? Thomas only smiled. We sold a few things we didn't need anymore. At the time, Rebecca had no idea that this seemingly harmless answer was hiding a secret powerful enough to shake the entire family. And months later, when Lily asked to visit her great-grandmother's studio once again, the truth finally began to reveal itself. That afternoon, Lily practically ran into the old art studio, but the excitement on her face disappeared almost instantly. The room was empty. The paintings that had once covered every wall were gone. The framed canvases that had lined the windows were nowhere to be seen. All that remained were cold, empty spaces and a thin layer of dust spread across the wooden floor. Lily stood frozen. Her eyes moved slowly around the room, as if she were trying to recover a piece of memory that someone had stolen. Rebecca turned toward her parents. The thing she had feared most had finally happened. Thomas let out a long sigh. He admitted that he had sold the entire collection. Susan immediately cut in. They were just old paintings. Nobody in the family was using them. Lily lowered her head. Her voice was so soft it almost disappeared into the silence. But great-grandma left them to me. The room fell silent. Then, at that exact moment, Lily accidentally nudged an old easel sitting in the corner. A strange sound echoed through the studio. She knelt down and noticed that one of the floorboards was slightly raised. Rebecca helped her pry it open. Beneath it was an old yellow envelope. The moment Rebecca recognized the familiar handwriting on the front, her heart nearly stopped. It was Eleanor's handwriting. The letter began with a sentence that left everyone speechless. If you are reading this letter, then someone has probably failed to honor my final wishes. Rebecca continued reading. With every line, the expressions on Thomas and Susan's faces changed. Eleanor revealed that 6 special paintings in her collection were far more than works of art. Hidden inside their frames were secret symbols. When all 6 symbols were assembled, they would unlock access to a trust fund she had quietly built over many years. In that moment, every trace of confidence vanished from Thomas's face, because he had just realized a terrifying truth. The paintings he sold to build the swimming pool might have been worth far more than he had ever imagined. In the days that followed, the sound of laughter around Thomas and Susan's new swimming pool disappeared. In its place came endless phone calls, meetings with lawyers, and long, sleepless nights. Eleanor's letter was officially verified as legitimate. The attorney who had overseen her estate confirmed that the secret trust fund was real. But to gain access to it, the family would have to recover all 6 paintings that contained the hidden symbols concealed inside their frames. The search began. Rebecca spent weeks contacting auction houses, art galleries, and private collectors across several states. Some people agreed to help the moment they heard the story. Others refused. Some demanded to review every legal document before giving an answer. Every new lead brought hope. Then disappointment. But Rebecca refused to give up. She knew she was not simply searching for paintings, she was protecting the final gift Eleanor had intended for Lily. Months passed. One by one, 5 of the paintings were recovered. The 6th and final piece eventually surfaced in a small gallery in Chicago. When the last symbol was finally assembled, the trust fund was unlocked. Inside were investments that had quietly grown over decades, along with precious family heirlooms Eleanor had carefully preserved throughout her life. That day, Lily was not excited about the value of the inheritance. What moved her most was the final letter her great-grandmother had left behind. In it, Eleanor wrote that honesty would always be worth more than money. Rebecca watched her daughter smile through tears. Meanwhile, Thomas and Susan sat silently beside their luxurious swimming pool. For the first time, they understood what they had truly lost. It was never the paintings. It was the trust of the one person who had seen exactly who they were long before anyone else did.